And is it recording? Yes. Okay. So welcome to Excel's How to Write a College Essay. I'm Larissa. I'm one of the counselors here at Excel, and I'll be kind of sharing some tips that we've learned along the way as a school counselor. What we're going to go over is which universities are going to require admissions essays. Specifically for UCs, we're going to talk about a little bit more in depth about the personal insight questions and what's important about them. So what are the 8 personal insight topics? And then there's even a video to kind of get some more insight, what to keep in mind. Then we're going to go shift over into general writing tips for essays, more focused on the Common App. That way we can kind of get a broader range of tips, and then some resources that you can use, and then some of the deadlines, okay? But first off, which universities actually require an admissions essay? So for the most part, if you're in California, California state universities or the CSUs like Cal Poly Pomona or Cal State LA, Cal State San Bernardino, right? Those are schools that don't typically require you to write an essay. However, sometimes within their school, there might be a program you're applying to. For instance, I know that the Cal State Fullerton has a nursing program that requires um, a um, a brief essay on why you want to be a part of the nursing program there. So even if the school itself into the application process for enrollment doesn't require it, you may need to write an essay for a specific program. So those are a little bit different, but they do kind of require the same energy. Next is the UCs. So the UCs do require the personal insight questions, or the personal statements as they're often referred to. So they do require it. Typically, if you're applying to a University of California, UC like UC Riverside, UC Berkeley, UCLA, you're going to write well, there's 4 different prompts that you will need to write, but you'll only have to write them one time. So you won't have to write them 4 times 3 schools that you apply to or whatever the amount that you would do. So keep that in mind. And then there's just so many different universities that actually do require an essay as part of their application process. A lot of schools, typically private schools, but not necessarily. It can actually be public schools across the board. They do want to see that students have a well-rounded they want to see how well-rounded students actually are. So it's not just your grades and your test scores, right? They want to see who are you as a person and is this a good fit for us? So that's why, especially on Common App, that you'll see on Common App, they'll have like essay questions and you get to look at them and choose what works best for you. But it's giving the school an idea of who you actually are, not just on paper. What are your grades? What are your test scores? You know, what is your ranking? Things like that. They want to know you. So let's start with the UC personal insight questions. Because we're in California, a lot of what we do revolves around UC. UC set the standard for what classes you need to take in order to be college ready. If you've ever heard of the A through G requirements, that's the UCs. They're the ones that come up with what classes are A through G, and they're the ones in California that start and set the precedent as far as like what the personal insight questions or personal statements. So typically in your English 12 class, you're addressing some of these, right? We kind of even include it in our standards. It's good practice, right? We want to practice those things. But it is an opportunity for you to express who you are, right? As you're going in from high school to college. And what are you looking for? What do you want to do? How are you going to contribute to the college, to the world, right? What have you already contributed to the world? And what are you learning? Not just your academics, but as a person, as a human, right? So those are things that you get to share with the colleges, specifically here at UC, when you're doing it. So there's 8 personal insight questions to choose from. You get to choose those on your own. So there's no, as far as when it comes to first year students, you don't have to pick a certain one. You get to look at the ones and what makes the most sense for you, right? So you don't have to answer a question that doesn't have anything to do with your experience or your life. So you get to answer the ones that make the most sense for you. So you're going to answer four of them, right? So you are choosing four. So it's giving you a chance to offer a lot of different perspectives from different things that have happened and things you've learned, right? And then the maximum number of words per response is 350. So it's not super long. It's not the longest essay you'll ever write. It's not your biography. It's just more a starting point to get answer that question and let the school know who you are. And they are going to be reading it. Um, so I have a little video. Go ahead and I'll go ahead and start this video so you can kind of get an idea from someone who kind of works with this all the time.
Okay, you're about to start the personal insight questions for the UC undergrad application. Stressful, I know. So here are some tips on what the questions are about and what they cover.
What are the personal insight questions? And what kind of topics will they be covering?
The personal insight questions are about getting to know you better. We want to hear about your accomplishments, talents, interests, and experiences. All the things that make you a great UC applicant. This is just one part of the application we consider when making our admission decision. But it's really important because it provides context for the rest of your application. You can express who you are and what matters to you, not only in how you respond to the questions, but also through your selection of questions to answer. That doesn't mean that some questions are better than others. We want you to choose the questions that resonate with your own experiences. There are 8 questions to choose from. Freshman applicants will pick 4 questions to answer. Transfer applicants will choose 3 questions to answer, plus 1 required question.
So which ones do I pick? Does it matter?
You choose which questions you want to answer, but you should select the questions that feel most relevant to your circumstances. Remember, we want to learn about your life experience so we can better understand you as a UC applicant. All questions are given equal consideration in the application review process, which means there is no advantage or disadvantage to choosing one question over another. Your responses will not hurt you. They can only enhance our understanding of you as an applicant.
Well, I'm not really sure what the UC campuses are looking for. Is there anything specific?
There is no right or wrong way to answer these questions. It's about sharing your personality, background, interests, and achievements in your own words, in your own unique voice. The best responses are those that are authentic and best represent who you are.
So I'm not really the best writer. Do I need to worry about my writing and my vocabulary?
The personal insight questions are not a writing test, but you should be sure to give yourself plenty of time to prepare and revise your answers. Typos, spelling errors, and grammatical mistakes are distracting and can get in the way of what you're trying to communicate. We know you're creative and passionate, and we want your answers to be the start of a dialogue between you and UC. When it comes time to write, just remember, use your own voice and proofread your work. And then proofread it one more time.
All right, I think I got it. I'm ready to get started. But where do I go for more information?
Give yourself plenty of time. Start working on the personal insight questions as soon as you can. Remember, this is just one of many things we consider when we review your application. Your responses can only add value to the application. Go to our admissions website, which has the questions, along with worksheets, writing tips, and suggestions for how to get started. Relax, use your own voice. There is no need to try to get the attention of the reader. You already have it. So take a deep breath, give it your best shot, and know that no decision is ever based on the personal insight responses alone.
Okay. So here's some of the themes that are around the personal insight topics for the UCs. So leadership. So what experience do you have in leadership? So that could go anywhere from, hey, I was a part of ASB or a leadership um, program, and I was able to do these things. And you're going to share about what you learned and how it affected you and what you've, how you've grown, right? What you've done. Now, just talking about the things overall, you don't want to be general, right? You don't want to talk about our leadership team did prom and they did this and they did that, right? You want to show how did that affect you personally, okay? So making sure that you're really addressing you and who you are. And sometimes you don't get an opportunity to be the captain of your sports team or in ASB or, you know, the president of a club, right? You don't necessarily have that, but maybe you're the oldest sibling and you have the opportunity to help in around the house. Or maybe you're not the oldest sibling. I know I have a youngest sibling that is like I call her the house manager because she can control them better than me, right? But everybody has that different skill. What is your leadership quality, right? Everybody has a leadership quality. It may look different for different people. So keep that in mind. It doesn't have to be this typical straight line that they're looking for. And creativity, right? Creativity looks different again across the board. It varies so differently. So if you're an artist or a musician, um, you know, you have you're a theater person, it seems like, oh, well, that you're creative, right? But what about if you're an engineer? What does that creativity look like, right? What if you want to be a teacher? What does that creativity look like? You have to make it match who you are. So creativity isn't just set up for what we're thinking, like the natural artists, right? Like that's not necessarily just creativity. What if you're a business person? You've been an entrepreneur your whole life and you've set up this whole business and you're running it from your house and you use this and you do that. You have to think about it from your perspective, okay? And then talent. So this is kind of aligned with creativity, right? What are your special talents? What are the things that you are best at, right? You want to share that and how it looks for you. Again, similar to the creativity and talent kind of go hand in hand because it looks different for everybody. Somebody's talent might be coding and somebody's talent might be public speaking, and it's just going to look like a different thing for other people, okay? And then educational opportunities and educational barriers. Okay, so this is kind of one of those ones, again, it looks different. Some educational opportunities and barriers are huge, right? You have a chance to participate in this summer program at a college and you did this and you did that. You got to practice that. Some might be a lot smaller, like I got to take one AP class and it really changed my pathway. I went from thinking I only want to take I'm trying to think of a class. I want to be a school counselor, right? That's me, obviously. And then I take AP economics and I'm like, actually, I'm really into finance. And it shifted my perspective and this is what I did, right? So that might seem like a very small thing, but it can be that thing that you feel passionate about that you can write about. Then there's educational barriers, right? Again, it looks different. Sometimes you may have a student or a person, you might be someone who I've struggled with math my whole life, but I was able to get through algebra 2, and that's really going to allow me to take myself into college and go and meet the goals I want to meet. Or it can be I failed my freshman year and I had to retake it, and how did I get there? How did I navigate? How did I navigate that challenge, that barrier? So you have to just kind of make it your own and build around what is making the most sense for you. Same with the significant challenge. So this is going to be something not necessarily related to education. So something that might have happened to you outside of school, right? In your family, with your friends, how you felt, maybe your health, something around that. And how did you overcome it? What did it teach you? How are you a different person from it? Um, what did you learn, right? Those are the kind of things you want to address there. And then an academic subject that inspired you. So maybe you've always known you wanted to be in coding because from day one you were playing Roblox. I don't know if you guys are old enough for Roblox. Yeah, probably. Day one you've been playing Roblox and you were like, this is it for me. I know this is what I want to do. And so you've kind of just taken that and now you've taken all these computer science classes and all of that. It's that's the kind of something that might have inspired you. And then your contribution. So what is it that you've done? How have you made the world different because of you, right? Everybody does, right? Like we might not think, oh, I'm just in high school. What could I have done? But I guarantee you've done something that has contributed to the world, whether it be your parents, your family, your neighbor, maybe you babysat. It can be what you do, right? You have to think about it that way. How are you contributing? How are you making the world a different and better place? And then what makes you an excellent choice for the UC, right? So this is going to be a little bit more specific to a UC, but just so you know, like all the different colleges, they have a different personality. So even the UCs, right? Um, UCs are they're just different. They're like your siblings, right? You come from the same family, but you're not the same
Great
person.
example.
So you want to make sure that you're choosing the UC that fits best for you and not the UC that sounds the best by on paper, right? It needs to be your best fit. So again, they're all different. So you want to don't apply to all the schools just because. That's important to note. You want to pick the ones that are going to fit your personality and what you're needing, right? So that's where you got to do your research. So you don't want to write, this is one, remember, it's going to go through all the ones that you apply to. So if you apply to all 8, it's going to all 8. But if you apply to 1 or 2, that's what you want to do. But just make sure that you kind of write around what makes you a fit. So one thing about UC to remember, it's research based, okay? So that is the main thing about it. So how are you going to be, what will you want to do in research? You don't have to have like a specific thing you want to do in research. I'm probably going too far with that. But how are you going to be in a research-based school? Okay, so thinking about the personality of the school and what makes you a good choice for that. And then all the questions are equal. She kind of stated that in the video. So there's no disadvantage to choosing one or the other. The disadvantage or the advantage would be what matches you the best, right? Don't pick something that doesn't make sense for you. And there's not really a right or wrong answer, right? You're going to be yourself. You're writing to yourself, or not to yourself, from your perspective. Okay. So this is kind of like just general writing tips. But you want to start early. She said that. There's no way to even say that a different way. You have to start now. No matter what, if you haven't got started, that's okay. Get started now, right? You have until November 30th, which seems like plenty of time, but it can go fast, right? And you don't want to procrastinate. That's just a fact. You don't want to procrastinate. Work on it a little every day. Work on it. Whether you're doing the UC prompts or another one, just give it a little energy every day, a little time. Brainstorm. Okay, so you want to think about what you want to do. You want to kind of get an idea of where you're going with it. If you have specific schools that you know you have to write, look at their prompts. See what things that the different schools have in common. So you can start coming up with general themes around them. And then that way you don't have to write 10 different essays if you're going to apply to 10 different schools, right? You're definitely going to edit and revise and tweak it, but you don't necessarily have to reinvent the wheel every single time. So, and then write persuasively. You want to let them know who you are, and you're basically giving them like, it's me, choose me. So you want to persuade them to like you, right? To want you. And then using I statements. So you're going to write it from your perspective. Sometimes we've seen where students are like, my parent inspired me. This is what they've done for me. And it's really more about them and not you. So you want to make sure you're writing about you and yourself. How is that? If someone has inspired you, that's great. Tell that in a sentence or two, and then what has it done for you? Okay. Proofread, edit, proofread, and get feedback. Have someone else read it. Have your English teachers read it. Have your counselor read it. Have your parents read it. Have someone else read it, but making sure that you are getting feedback, okay? And then what's important too is relax. If you're stressed out about it, that's probably going to show up in your writing, right? It's not going to come out as like flowing and yeah. You want to make sure you're relaxed and that you're thinking about it. That's why you want to go back to the first thing. Start early and give yourself time to need a break if you have to. All right, so I wanted to kind of add this little piece, right? Using AI. Don't use AI to write your AI is a great tool. It's a wonderful, wonderful tool that you can use to help you with writing your college essays. But don't use it to write your college essay, okay? One of the best tools that you can use to use AI for is brainstorming and idea generation, right? So you're looking at all these essays, you don't know what to do, you don't know what to say. Put in like you're writing a resume, like use a prompt like, these are all my experiences. These are things that I've done. Give me some topics or themes that I can write about for my college application essays, right? So you're going to ask AI to help you make a plan, not the essay. So that's important to note. You're not saying write a rough draft, write an essay. Don't do that. They're going to know they do this for a living and they use AI, right? And if you were like, well, maybe I could get away with it. There's an app for that. Like they literally made more apps around the apps that make apps, right? So definitely keep that in mind. Don't use AI to write the whole thing. Okay. But you can help yourself, like I said, add your experiences, your interests, your activities, and then ask for what topics make the most sense for me. And you can even say what topics from UC, what topics from Common App, because there's kind of, those are two of the main ones that we kind of work with that will kind of show up in regular basis. So you can ask which ones match best for me, right? And then if you are thinking like, okay, for some more brainstorming, like generating questions around it, you can do ask it to give you some reflective questions that give you an idea of what you need to ask yourself, right? So it's not they're not answering these questions for you. They're making you ask the questions of yourself. Okay. So what are some questions that I can ask that will reflect who I am as a person so that I can put it into my college essay. Now, I don't know if you guys are familiar with AI or how to use it, but one thing that's important is you always want to put who's the frame of reference. So you want to tell AI from the frame of a student, I need questions to reflect on who I am as a person so that I can make a um, a college application essay. So that's something you can do to help build a plan around it. But again, you're not telling the AI to add anything for you, right? You want to make sure that you're just using it as a outline or a brainstorming topic, right? Then for structuring. So another thing that AI is good for is how to structure. What do I put at the top? What do I put in the introduction? What do I put in the body? And what do I put in the conclusion to really show what I need, right? So you don't need, again, it's just the outline that you don't want it to write an introduction. Never say create or write this for me. No, it's the questions, the outline, that kind of thing. And then analyze the prompt. Maybe you're reading this prompt and you're like, I don't even know what it's trying to ask me. Ask AI, what is this prompt really saying, right? So then it's going to tell you, it's breaking it down, and then that's when you can oh, okay, now I get it. Okay. And then refining and editing, I do want to say that it does kind of like give hey, I'll just be honest. I use AI to define these themes. What is the best way? That's what I put. What is the best and most effective way that a high school student can utilize AI to write a college essay? And this is the warning was, don't AI is helpful. These are the things that can be most helpful, but you want to use your own voice. So this is kind of where, and if you've ever used Grammarly, which is a great tool, but now it's kind of like in that realm of AI. So it's rewriting everything you say. So you have to really look at it and make sure that you're still using your voice. Don't let AI take over your voice because then it's not authentically you and it's probably going to sound like AI and it's going to flag the admissions people. So but using it for improving your grammar because like she said, it can definitely take over the word count to make sure you're on track, and then varying sentence structure. So if you're like me and you kind of use the same kind of, I think this is great. I think this is great. Right? Like you have to, if you want to like get some different sentence structure ideas, that's also really great. But just making sure that your revisions are in your voice and you rewrite them in paraphrase, not just copy and paste. Okay. That's the main problem. Anything you guys want to add? I kind of just kept going. Anything that you think I'm missing?
I would just really, really, I don't think I could overemphasize the importance of being your natural self and allowing your unique characteristics to shine. And a lot of us, when we're teenagers, we don't yet know our unique characteristics. So if you're contemplating what you might be able to highlight in your essay, it's not a bad idea. Rather than turning to AI for that information, talk to family members, your siblings, your parents, or maybe somebody in your workplace if you've got a job outside of school, your teachers, because most other people see us sometimes more clearly than we see ourselves and can see things that we haven't even realized are important about us yet. That's just my 2 cents worth on that.
Yes, I agree. Making sure sometimes it's hard to come up with your own strengths and your own abilities, and your parents and your siblings and your friends can really help with that. And I agree. I wanted to add in something on AI because you guys as your age group, right? You're used to it. It's just there, right? So I want to make sure that you have opportunities to understand what's the best fit for using AI. Don't cheat. That's basically cheating. You're cheating yourself because more than anything, right? Because you're gonna if you use AI as you're just that's it. I'm good. I'm done. Then you're cheating yourself. So don't cheat. Don't cheat. But I agree with Lisa. Definitely use the people around you, the humans, the human interaction for your strengths, for your personality. If you're stuck. Okay. So I also have here some resources. I can put them into the chat if you guys would like to kind of get an idea. The personal insight questions is this just the general what they are for the UCs and some examples so you can see what is available for you to use. Then we have the insight question worksheet. So it's taking the questions and it's giving you kind of helping you break down for yourself the worksheet. And then the Common App essay prompt. So we talked a little bit about we talked a lot, I should say, about the UC, but Common App has they have the largest portal or database for uh, the application. So they have also Common App prompts that are going to be like across the board. So like if you're applying to the UCs, you're going to apply using the same questions for Common App for the most part. I'm not going to say it's 100%, but for the most part, Common App will give some questions that you can choose similar to how the UCs do it, and then you can apply. But some schools are going to have specific questions that they want you to answer. But a lot of schools nationwide really do use similar themes that you're going to answer. But here are the Common App essay prompts. And then how to approach the Common App essay. So it's like a worksheet that really breaks down like some just some good tips to help you kind of work through them. Khan Academy is also always a great resource for so many things. So here's their resource. And then tutor.com. I don't know if you guys know, but through Excel, you have access to tutor.com and they will also help you look at your essay. So maybe you and your parent are not the best, you think you're not the best judge of how does this essay sound, right? Send it through somebody who does that professionally. And this is a free resource that you guys have available to you. So I can add those into the chat so that you can access it. Yeah, and then so the UCs, the application deadline is the November 30th, and all the other application deadlines vary drastically. So Common App has put together this wonderful chart with all these things, all these deadlines that they support. This is probably not an exhaustive list of everything forever, but it's got a lot. So if you're not sure where you're going to apply and you're like, okay, I need help with this. Here's a great place to start. Okay. It's 54 pages. If you're feeling tired at night, but you can't sleep, look through this chart. Just kidding. It's definitely a great resource though. So definitely utilize what we have here for you. I'm gonna go ahead and open up. Hopefully you guys can type questions if you have some questions for us into the Q&A. I'm not sure if the chat works, but I will be working on getting you the what links. I'll add them in there. So we'll kind of stick around if anybody has questions, and I will add these links in here. Oh. I won't put the tutor.com one in there because you will probably get that from your TOR. So if you need to get your login for that, so if you do need some, you would like to work with tutor.com, just make sure you talk it to your tour so that they can give you the login for that. But here are the rest of the links in the chat. I'm not seeing any questions in the Q&A. So if nobody has any questions, that's all we have. Yeah. But if you do have questions, but you want more personalized attention, you can always make an appointment with your counselor and we can work with you. But other than that, that's it. Thank you guys for attending. Hope you guys, good luck on your applications, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.